Hello. Today I'm going to tell you about myself, Nathan Hale, and why I was important to the Revolutionary War. I started out as a lieutenant in the Continental Army. The next year I was promoted to captain. I was stationed in New York. I volunteered in early September 1776 to perform spying duties behind British lines. I was disguised as a school teacher, which I went to college for, and I secured vital military information. Before I could return safely to safe territory, I was captured by the British in New York, New England, and I was hanged by the British. My famous last words were, I only regret that I have but one life to lose for my country." That's why I was important to the Revolutionary War.
At one battery of Pennsylvania artillery on that scorching hot Sunday, a legendarily heroic event played out. Mary Ludwig Hayes, along with other camp followers, normally served as water girls during training, carrying water to drilling infantry troops on hot days. The cannon themselves always demanded a constant supply of fresh water to cool the blazing hot barrel and to soak the rag-tipped rammer to clear sparks and gunpowder after each shot. Some have said that Mary Hayes earned her famous nickname, Molly Pitcher, during this time. Soldiers would shout, "Molly! Pitcher!" whenever they needed Mary to bring water. Mary marched along with her husband William's artillery battery into this battle. At some time, during an intense crossfire, William Hayes collapsed next to his cannon, either wounded or collapsed from heat exhaustion. As her husband was carried off, Mary took his place at the cannon, and for the rest of the day, and in the heat of battle, continued to work the booming guns alongside her husband's comrades. After the battle, General Washington asked about the woman whom he had seen loading a cannon on the battlefield. For her courage, it is believed that he issued Mary Hayes a warrant as a non-commissioned officer. Sergeant Molly was a nickname that she used for the rest of her life. If Molly Pitcher be folklore or history, a legend from the Battle of Monmouth, she remains.
Now that we've got the waistcoat, let's put the outer layer on. First, the hat. We've got a round hat on him, which is a very common hat. We could have him also in a regular tricorn hat also. And we have him in a hunting frock. Very common for militia soldiers to be using a hunting frock. Sometimes even recruits that just come in and before they're issued their regimental, they would have something like a hunting frock. So that's very common. This one's a white linen one. We also have canvas ones, either in white or in different colors. But the white linen one's perfect kind of fabric for this, so I chose that to put on him. We're almost done. All we need now are accoutrements. Every soldier needs a haversack, something to carry his food, provisions, rations, however small they may be, and also other little things he might need, a comb, his pocket knife, maybe even a fire starting kit, something like that. So you've got a haversack for those kind of things, and of course every soldier needs a canteen to carry water on the field. This is a simple.
British soldiers were expected to look like a picture. If a British soldier wasn't properly dressed, he couldn't be whipped. British uniforms were made of canvas and wool. They were heavy and hot and took a long time to put on properly. Typical red long coat was decorated with lace, buttons, and piping. Not all units wore red coats. Some dressed in green, blue, gray, or yellow. Different units also wore different colored lapels, including yellow, white, blue, buff, and red. 2 belts made an X across the soldier's uniform. One belt held his bayonet and the other his cartridge box. Each trooper carried a knapsack and other gear, often totaling about 60 pounds. The combination of the sometimes hot American climate, tight woolen clothes, and heavy burdens made long marches brutal. Hit it.
On June 16, 1775, 1,200 American militia marched from Cambridge to come to Charlestown to build a fortification on Bunker's Hill. Their orders were to build a formidable place to drive the British out of Boston. The British immediately decided that they needed to be moved off that hill. 2,000 British soldiers came over from Boston, marched up the slope of this hill. As they were marching up, the American commander, Colonel Prescott, told his men, "Don't fire. Don't fire until you see the whites of their eyes." As they drew near, Colonel Prescott commanded, "Rally, fire!" The British soldiers went down windwards, back, reeling down the hill. They came up a second time. Again, Prescott told his men, "Hold your fire, hold your fire." They came close, the Americans fired again, and for a second time, the British retreated down the hill. They came up a third time. By this time, the Americans had run short of ammunition. The British came over the redoubt, rolled the Americans off the hill. Nearly 450 Americans fell that day. More than twice that number of British soldiers died. The British crowed about their victory at Bunker's Hill, causing an American general, Nathaniel Greene, to comment, "Fine," he said, "we'll sell them hills at that price anytime." Among those who were witnessing the battle at Bunker Hill was Abigail Adams, at home in Braintree.
Now, it was Breed's Hill. It wasn't Bunker's Hill. There was a confusing there, because it is understood that perhaps the British had the wrong map with the wrong name of the hill. So what is known as the Battle of Bunker's Hill is actually on Breed's Hill, and the great monument called the Bunker Hill Monument is actually on the wrong hill. The cornerstone laid by the Marquis de Lafayette was in 1825. They finished building the monument in 1843. It is 221 feet high, and it is open to the public.
There you go.